Here we go then, UEFA Europa League playoff time. So after the last episode, I've had a bit of time to reflect on the draw, and I think it was pretty reasonable. We certainly could have got much tougher sides. Besiktas, Anderlecht, even teams like Lillestrøm, Basel. I think they would have made light work of us. I think we could have also have got easier ties. Lincoln were in there. I think Glentoran might have been slightly easier. Certainly Viking Reykjavik would also have been, I think, an easier side. I think they must be a part-timer club. So we could have got an easier tie. We could have got a tougher one. As it is, we're facing Zrinjski. They've got some decent players. I've had a look through the squad. Some of their better players are veterans, though. So we might be able to use a little bit of youth and vitality tonight to try and move them around the park, maybe work some openings, and if we could beat them over 2 legs, well, that would be superb. But we do have a few little team selection dilemmas, and they are a couple of fairly significant ones as well. We saw during our last episode Kierkegaard get injured, and unfortunately, he's going to be out for 2 to 3 months. Probably we've seen the last of him during our time in Latvia. The player that we're going to replace them with is Obafemi, who doesn't have the greatest of crossing or passing or vision, but against an ageing Zrinjski defence, we're hoping that acceleration of 16 might mean that they are a danger, and they did set up a goal against Minsk, so we'll see what they can do out there on the right. Replacing Mustafic in central midfield, who's suspended for tonight's game, well, that's going to be a little bit more tricky. They really have proved themselves to be fairly crucial in our midfield. They've got good passing and good tackling. They're a great all-rounder, and deciding who to pick in their place is a little bit more of a challenge. Options include Scribsy, who could come in, but Scribsy has been very lightly rated so far this season, or Savolyevs, who physically is not the most commanding, or the other option is to bring Dumbledore back in, who physically is a little bit better and technically offers us more as well. I think the play on this occasion is to bring in Dumbledore, but not as a ball-winning midfielder. Instead, we'll ask Brook to fulfill that role. And just for this game, I think, rather than a central midfield on attack, I might ask Dumbledore just to be an advanced playmaker, but only with a support duty. And I'm going to drop it down from positive just to balanced, because we're going to be up against a stronger side than we would normally face when we're playing league games in Latvia. With a suspended player and 2 injuries, plus an unregistered player in the matchday squad now, we're going to have to go to the under-19s to make a bench, and then we're going to get out there to take on Zrinjski. As the teams take to the field, our stadium is looking a little bit more populated than it normally is. The fans are out, maybe not in force, but they're out. As we line up, we're going to be in our home kit of all white. We're taking on Zrinjski, who are wearing all black attire. And the game is underway. Ozolins is going to be skippering the side tonight. We've got Musa and Katz as our centre halves, looking very solid recently. And we have our first highlight of the game. The set piece comes to nothing, but we've recycled the ball, and Brook strikes the bar early. He is a threat from distance. Dumbledore apparently is not, as he has another effort that he blazes over the crossbar. We've made a lightning start to this game. 6 shots already, 4 of them on target. But as we reach the halfway point of the first period, we've not made a breakthrough, but Brook now is going to send in another corner. It's a near post one that's not very threatening, but he's got the chance to make amends as he sends it into Obafemi, and the right winger has stooped down low and headed a ball that they probably could have volleyed instead. But we won't knock their decision making because it's resulted in a goal, and Brook just dinks it into an unmarked Obafemi. He's planted a low header past Maric in goal, and we said we wanted a 2-goal cushion. Well, we've got the first of those. Now, can we go in search of the second? Performances are looking pretty good, aside from Robinson at right back, who is not performing quite as well as their teammates. And we've now got the chance to score that second goal. It's Smolensky that has a free kick. It whistles over the crossbar, and it looks like we're going to go into the break just 1 goal in the lead. So the last time we called out Diani for not playing well in the first half, he then scored 2 in the second. Let's see if we can do the same, because he's not had a great start. in that first half at 6.7, and right on cue, he wins a penalty 2 minutes into the start of the second period, or does he? Because VAR is going to be reviewing it. He does indeed. He was clipped, and the player that is going to be stepping up and taking it for us, a good manager would know, it's Cats. It's Cats? It's Cats, apparently. I don't remember ever selecting him as one of our penalty takers, but he fires the ball past Maric. And now we do have a 2-0 lead on the night. And I think that's a pretty fair reward for how we started the game. Zrinski have not had a shot yet. They're going to be very different opponents out in Bosnia, I am sure. And I think they will be eager to try and get a goal later on in this game to try and give them something to take into the second leg. Here's Gogic, fresh from her work at the post office. Now Marine, and it is their player that has raced in. And there is that goal. It is Abdinovic. It was a good move. They opened us up down our left where we do have... It's actually down our right where it's Robinson who's struggling to get back. It's a good header. It's a well-worked move. And I think Robinson might have just sealed his fate and might be coming off. Well, the reinforcements are on, but can they make a difference? Zrinski have only had one effort in the entire game, and it's gone in, unfortunately. We've completely dominated. But so often in these European games, I've noticed that the momentum and the pattern of play is completely different from one leg to the other. So just because we've dominated at home doesn't mean we will create a thing when we head out to Bosnia. Obafemi tries to force another opening. He has an effort when he could have crossed. Their goalie tips it round the post. Now Brook is going to send in the corner. He lets it go to the near post. Dubal Devs is going to pick it up. He strikes and their goalkeeper is having the game of his life. He's smuggled another effort round the post. It's Bowler from the corner this time. It's going to be going to the near post, I think. And we are weak at the near post from these corners. We've got the ball out again. The centre half that's just come on. Chernomordis gets the ball. We're now on 83 minutes. We've had 14 shots on target. We've got an XG of 2.2. We've had 19 corners and 67% possession. But we can't find a third goal. And as time starts to ebb away, I think we might have to comfort ourselves with just having a 1-goal lead to take out to Bosnia. We're in stoppage time now. It's racing its way through. And a game where our opponents only had 2 shots during the entire match has ended 2-1. And I'm going to say, I'm a little bit disappointed and a little bit nervous about what we do in the second leg. So if we're going to progress tonight, we're going to have to be more clinical, and the injuries are mounting up now. We've just played a league game, and Bowler has picked up a double hernia. They're out for a month at least, so our task is not getting any easier. We're going to bring Tarasovs in, although Tarasovs is not the flying wing-back that Bowler is. They're a bit more of a very short centre-half. Probably they'll want to be the inverted full-back, but we can't play those on both sides if we're going to play an inside forward, I don't think. So instead, we're going to go with a fullback instead. We've got Mustafic back for this leg. This is going to help us, but I think we're going to need to score at least 2 goals because we've been a bit leaky in Europe, even though we continue to keep clean sheets in the league. We've just had a 2-0 victory. Before that, we were drawing 0-0, winning 5-0 and then 1-0. So we're keeping plenty of clean sheets in the league. It's in Europe where our opponents are managing to breach our defence, as we saw Zrinski do with one of their 2 only attacks during that first leg. Hopefully, we're going to have enough to get past them in this second leg, and then we'll be able to see who we draw in the league phase. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. We've got 90 minutes of tough European action to get through first. So despite my best efforts pre-season to build a squad that could compete across 2 competitions, injuries really are starting to come at the wrong time, and it's meant that we're a little bit weakened for this tie tonight. We're going to be in our away kit of, should we generously say charcoal? Looks like we were trying to wear black kits, but we've overwashed them. So let's go with a deep grey for tonight's game. It seems like Zrinski have got a massive stadium, but they've only opened 1 stand of it. I'm sure we must have some away fans somewhere in here. And we are now kicking off, and they've already had a shot in this game. They only managed 2 during the last game. We've not had any efforts at all yet as we race through to the 20-minute mark before we register a shot at goal. Tarasev's is already on a 6.5. Obafemi's matching him for that score, but we've got an early corner that Kat manages to recycle. Now the ball is with Fyodorov's and Osalin's, and we've got it out to Mustafic, the player that was suspended for leg 1. He's had an effort at goal. He does not score many, more of a defensive-minded midfielder, and he's blazed his effort over the bar. But here is Obafemi looking to use that pace. He's gone past a man, then slowed and given the ball away to Pesto, but then recovered and sent a cross in. And Smolensky steals in at the far post. He's not known for his aerial ability, but he's got on the end of a chance there. He has risen like the proverbial salmon. Pesto just stumbles on the ball. Obafemi has dug out a cross. That's what crossing of 5 gives you at this highest level. And Smolensky places a good header past the keeper. That takes Obafemi from a 6.5 to a 7.3. And on 38 minutes, well, now Zrinski are going in search of a goal. They're 3-1 down on aggregate. If we could steal another, then we would be in the box seat for this tie. Smolensky tries to close down, can't quite get there, so we're going to rely on Tarasov's to bring the ball clear for us instead. He's having a little wander forward, realises that that's probably above his station, gives the ball to another player, and then Obafemi has a clear sight of goal. He goes for the far post, but he slid the ball the wrong side of it. And we're still just 1 goal up on the night. Diani tries to play the header out to Obafemi, but Pesto is there ratting away, winning the ball back. And now they've got the ball at the back. They've sent it all the way to their keeper. They're trying to build through defence. They're a very patient side, just playing through the thirds. They've not crossed the halfway line yet. And we have just got all of our players goal side doing a very good job, I think, of being difficult to break down. Smolensky's now robbed it. Diani is offside. He has placed the ball past the keeper, but it's not going to count. But it just showed that we were nicely compact and organised there. They're going for the VAR review. It is indeed disallowed. But I do like the way we had everybody goal side, but we're still able to win the ball back in a reasonably high area and then punish the team on the break. It was just because Diani went that moment too early that it was ruled out for offside. It's 3-1 on aggregate, 1-0 on the night. I still think we might need 1 more goal. We're going to make this comfortable. Straight into the action in the second half, and we have got possession of the ball. Kat plays it forward to Fyodorov's. And if we could score early in this second half, then that would be a real tonic for us. Smolensky dinks it over, and here he is. And he has had a really good effort, a really good chance. He's hit the crossbar when he only had the goalkeeper to beat. I think he tried to put too much on that rather than just place it past the keeper. And again, if Zrinski were to score now, we would start to panic a little. I think on 65, we'll pause the game and we'll go and have a look just how tired some of our players are and whether we've got anybody on the bench over the age of 9 that we might be able to bring on. In truth, there wasn't much, to be honest. We noticed that Obafemi had a knock, so instead we've brought on Contreras, and we just rotated around which side our 2 wide players are playing. And we've also made a change in midfield where Dumbledore wasn't playing too well, so Brook comes on as the box-to-box midfielder. I still would like another goal on the night just to make things a little bit more comfortable, but across 2 legs, Zrinski have still only had 2 shots on target. They only needed 1 to score in the first leg. I feel like we've dominated the tie and look reasonably composed. It's just we fear that they might nick another on the break and produce a very nervy ending to this game. They have won the ball back, but we've stolen it once more. Fyodorov's gives it to Ozalin's. It's run to Diani, and he could seal it. Instead, he pulls the ball back. And Brook, who has just come on as the box-to-box midfielder, does one of those, shall we generously say, trademark strikes? Trademark-ish. We've seen a few of them at Haverfordwest and now at Riga. And Diani actually did the right thing to hold up the ball. And Brook strikes it first time It goes into the corner of the goal, and it's now 4-1 on the night, 2-0 on aggregate, and we've got just 10 minutes to see out. After this highlight, I think we might make the last of our changes. I think we will take off counter-pressing as part of that, but we might have another chance before we do, and Diani has made it 2 goals in a minute. Was that from the kickoff that we regained possession and managed to score a goal? Brooks involved again, feeds Mustafic. It's a nice slide rule pass through to another of the substitutes, Contreras, and Diani, I should say, manages to strike past their keeper. Now we've got 9 minutes to navigate, but at 5-1 up in the tie, that should be a relatively simple task. 3 goals on the night from 5 shots on target is not a bad little return. Some of our players have not played too well, but we've had some great performances elsewhere. We've done the job away in Bosnia. Now, let's see what the FM gods serve us up next. Well, the first thing that they've got is a whole heap of money, 2.91 million just for qualifying for the league phase. That means that there's now 15 million in the bank. There was only 17 million when we arrived, and we've spent quite a lot of money on transfers and training and youth facilities upgrades. So if we could also pick up a couple of results in the league phase, where I think you get money per victory or draw, we might be able to break even across our time at Riga before we leave. But who are we going to be playing at the back end of this domestic season during this league phase? We've got, well, some fairly mouth-watering ties. We've got Stuttgart, Red Star, Sociedad, Nordsjælland, teams from Poland and Germany, as well as Ajax and Monaco to take on. Unfortunately, some of these games may well be after we've left, and to have taken on Ajax and Monaco would have been quite something. I guess it's probably best that we're not around for those games, because I think they could be very tricky. It's looking like our last game in charge at Riga could well be against German side Mainz, but we've got German opposition to take on at the beginning of the league phase as we face Stuttgart as well. We've also got a league triumph to try and seal. We're still 19 points clear at the top of the table with 9 games left. When we come back for our next episode, I think it's going to be our last in Latvia, and it could well be that we're signing off with another league win and an exciting game in Europe.